Welcome to History Channel. Be sure to subscribe and like so you don't miss out on more videos like this one. Empress Elisabeth of Austria, known as Sisi, walks quietly through the streets of Geneva with her lady-in-waiting, unaware that this candid photograph would be her last. Captured just before her assassination by an anarchist in 1898, the image shows a serene woman moments before her tragic fate changed European history. In this rare portrait from the 1910s, US President Woodrow Wilson appears more vulnerable than in his official photographs. His famously poor teeth, often hidden from public view, are visible here, reminding us that even powerful leaders of history carried private insecurities behind their carefully managed images. President Dwight Eisenhower meets with civil rights leaders, including Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., following the signing of the Civil Rights Act of 1960. This rare gathering marked a cautious step forward in America's long struggle for racial equality, symbolizing dialogue between the highest office and the movement for justice. A Romanian civilian armed with a PSL rifle takes aim during the December 1989 revolution in Bucharest. His stance captures the moment ordinary citizens rose against Nicolae Ceausescu's regime. Days later, the dictatorship fell, marking the end of one of Eastern Europe's harshest communist governments. An Estonian female guerrilla washes clothes beside a woodland hideout in central Estonia in 1953, living in exile after Soviet occupation. Many like her endured years in secrecy, balancing survival with resistance. This simple domestic act reflects a quiet defiance in a nation fighting to preserve its identity. On October 15, 1969, thousands of students took to the streets across America to protest the Vietnam War. Their unified voices demanded peace and accountability from their government. The marches became one of the largest demonstrations of public dissent in U.S. history, defining a generation's call for change. Warren G. Harding, moments after being chosen as the Republican presidential nominee in 1920, is seen playing the tuba. The rare image shows the future president's lighter side, a glimpse of joy before the weight of leadership and scandal that would later define his short, turbulent presidency. Captured at the Élysée Palace in Paris on December 19, 1959. This photograph shows four world leaders, Adenauer, de Gaulle, Eisenhower, and Macmillan, at the height of Cold War diplomacy. Their meeting symbolized Western unity and delicate balance in a world shadowed by nuclear rivalry and shifting global alliances. Lieutenant R.F. Snuffy Smith of the 39th Fighter Squadron stands beside his P-38H Lightning. Japanese Sandman II. Around 1944, his confident pose captures the spirit of World War II pilots young, daring and determined to survive in a deadly aerial war, fought thousands of miles from home. President Richard Nixon stands beside a young Prince Charles during the Faidu latter's visit to the United States in July 1970. The meeting symbolized continuity between two historic allies during a turbulent era. Both men, still early in their public roles, would soon face defining and controversial moments in leadership. A U.S. soldier poses beside a yellow 1985 BMW 635 CS, modified by Gaulle, photographed in the ruins of Baghdad after the 2003 invasion of Iraq. The contrast between the luxury car and the war-torn landscape symbolizes the strange intersections of modern warfare, occupation, and fleeting traces of civilian life. This photo from Leon de Kulik's 1928 expedition captures the desolate Siberian landscape of the Tunguska event site. where a massive explosion in 1908 leveled thousands of trees. Believed to have been caused by a meteor or asteroid, it remains the most powerful impact event ever recorded on Earth. In Yokohama, Japan, 1966, a group of geishas stand near modern buses, a vivid clash of tradition and modernity. Their elegant kimonos and calm composure contrast sharply with the symbols of industrial progress, reflecting a Japan rapidly transforming, yet deeply rooted in centuries of cultural identity. The unveiling of the Lenin Monument in Ust-Ordinsky, USSR, in 1987 marked a fading era of Soviet idealism. Crowds gathered to honor a leader whose ideology was already being questioned. Within a few years, the Soviet Union itself would collapse, leaving statues like this as silent witnesses to history. Iranian cleric Ali Khamenei, then president and future supreme leader, stands in a trench during the Iran-Iraq War. Circa 1980 to 1988, the war's brutality shaped Iran's political identity for decades. This image shows a leader forged in conflict, embodying the endurance and hardship of a nation at war. Members of the South African Transvaal Scottish Regiment enter Addis Ababa on April 6, 1941, becoming the first Allied troops to liberate a capital from Axis control. Their victory in Abyssinia marked a symbolic turning point in Africa's World War II campaign, restoring Ethiopia's independence under Emperor Haile Selassie. Adolf Hitler bows before the coffin of Reinhard Heydrich in 1942, mourning one of the regime's most feared figures. Heydrich's assassination by Czech agents was a devastating blow to Nazi leadership. The image captures both the regime's reverence for brutality and the deep fear that vengeance would follow. Serbian warlord Željko Ražnatović, known as Arkan, cradles a baby tiger in 1991. The chilling contrast between tenderness and terror reflects his dual life as both celebrity and killer. Leading the Serb Volunteer Guard, his name became synonymous with war crimes and violence until his own assassination in 2000. A water polo team from Jadran Herceg-Novi poses proudly in 1958, when Montenegro was still part of Yugoslavia. Their smiling faces reflect unity through sport in a country that would later fracture into separate nations. The image captures an innocent era before decades of political and ethnic turmoil. Generalfeldmarschall Paul von Hindenburg and Erich Ludendorff stand together in 1918 as Germany's Supreme Army Command. During the final phase of World War I, their authority extended beyond the battlefield. They effectively ruled Germany as a military dictatorship, steering the nation through collapse, defeat, and the seeds of future turmoil. A rusting military aircraft lies abandoned in a Bosnian field in 1997. A silent remnant of the Yugoslav wars. Once symbols of national power, such relics now stand as scars of division. Grass and decay reclaim the past, transforming instruments of war into ghostly monuments of recent European history. A U.S. soldier writes a letter inside a shattered wall at Chateau Thierry in 1918, amid the ruins of war. This quiet act of humanity captures a moment of longing and reflection. His words, written in a broken city, represent countless voices reaching home from the front lines of World War I. On October 14, 1940, a German bomb struck Balham Underground Station in London, collapsing the road above and sending a double-decker bus plunging into the crater. Around 66 people lost their lives. The haunting image became a symbol of civilian endurance during the relentless air raids of the Blitz. A family portrait from 1940s Pittsburgh shows a mixed-race couple posing with quiet confidence. Captured on Agfa film, the image reflects both love and courage in an era when interracial relationships faced deep prejudice. Their simple smile becomes a statement of hope and resilience in a divided America. In September 1942, Nan Wood Graham and Dr. Byron McKeeby posed together, the real-life models behind Grant Wood's iconic painting American Gothic. Seen at the Cedar Rapids Public Library, they stand side by side, ordinary people immortalized in art, their faces etched into the cultural identity of small-town America. A U.S. Army paratrooper demonstrates the M1942, uniform and equipment designed for airborne operations during World War II. Lightweight and practical, it allowed better mobility in combat. This uniform served as the standard from 1942 until mid-1944, when the updated M1943 design began replacing it across paratrooper divisions. An early production F-4U-1 Corsair performs a side-slip maneuver above Guadalcanal in 1943, known for its inverted gull wings and incredible speed. The Corsair became one of the most feared American fighters of the Pacific War, mastering the skies during the long and bitter island campaigns. The red light district of Pigalle in 1950s, Paris glows under neon signs and shadowed alleys. This area, alive with cabarets and nightlife, embodied post-war freedom mixed with decadence. Its streets drew artists, soldiers, and wanderers seeking both inspiration and escape in the restless heart of the city. Members of the Cervi family, devoted anti-fascist farmers from Italy, stand together before tragedy struck. In December 1943, their 7 sons were executed by firing squad as retaliation for the deaths of 2 fascist officials. Their legacy became a symbol of courage and sacrifice in resistance to tyranny. Lieutenant Alexander Vrachu sits proudly in his F-6F Hellcat Gadget aboard the USS Intrepid in February 1944, with 9 victory markings beneath his cockpit. He would later cement his legend by downing 6 Japanese aircraft in just 8 minutes during the Great Marianas Turkey Shoot. Grace McDaniels poses lovingly with her son Elmer in the early 1940s, born with Sturge-Weber syndrome. She was once labeled the mule-faced woman, yet she turned public curiosity into independence, earning a living through Harry Lewiston's traveling circus and raising a family with dignity and resilience. Crowds in Auckland line the waterfront to welcome the battlecruiser HMS Renown during her 1920 visit to New Zealand. The arrival symbolized Britain's enduring naval influence and the deep bonds of the Commonwealth in the years following World War I's devastating global upheaval. German mechanized troops advanced near Moscow in December 1941 as Operation Typhoon unfolds. The push toward the Soviet capital marked one of the bloodiest and coldest battles of the war. Within months, freezing temperatures and fierce Soviet resistance would halt Hitler's once unstoppable Eastern campaign. A Viet Cong resistance fighter meets privately in 1972, his face hidden behind a mask to protect his identity. The mask represents both secrecy and survival in a war fought not only with weapons, but also with loyalty, fear, and the ever-present threat of betrayal. In Borneo's jungles, A British soldier lights a cigarette for an E-band tracker in 1950. The Abans, expert in jungle warfare, guided British forces during the Malayan Emergency and Borneo conflicts. This quiet exchange captures trust built between two cultures amid the harsh realities of colonial warfare. Charles de Gaulle stands solemnly before the tomb of George Washington at Mount Vernon in 1944. During his wartime visit, the French leader paid tribute to the founding father of American independence, linking two revolutions separated by time but united in their pursuit of liberty. A Russian Mi-8 helicopter smolders after being shot down near Grozny in December 1994. The downing reflected the brutal intensity of the First Chechen War, where guerrilla fighters confronted the powerful Russian army in a conflict marked by urban destruction and deep civilian suffering. French Prime Minister Jacques Chirac and his daughter relax beside a car park in 1974. The candid moment, away from politics, shows a rare glimpse of normalcy and family warmth behind a man who would later shape France's future on the global stage. Shan rebels pose in Myanmar's Kengtung region during the 1960s, fighting for autonomy in the country's long and complex civil wars. These guerrillas lived deep in the jungle. Their struggle became part of the decades-long conflict that continues to shape Myanmar's fractured national identity. Inside an ice cave during the British Antarctic expedition of January 5, 1911, explorers captured nature's frozen beauty in delicate blue light. These early photographs revealed both the wonder and danger of polar exploration, documenting human endurance at the edge of the known world. Jimmy Nicol, briefly replacing Ringo Starr in June 1964, poses with the Beatles during their world tour. His short-lived fame lasted only 10 days, yet it gave him a taste of global stardom. Afterward, he quietly faded from the public eye, a forgotten Beatle for a moment in history. Pastor Laga walks beside poet Rainandrayam Pandri toward his execution in Madagascar on October 15, 1896, accused of supporting the Metalamba rebellion against French colonial rule. Rainandrayam Pandri's death became a symbol of resistance and the high cost of standing for one's nation and cultural identity. A German Messerschmitt Bf 109 fighter flies above the Libyan desert in 1942, its sand-colored camouflage blending with the endless dunes. The aircraft dominated early air battles of North Africa, representing the might and precision of the Luftwaffe during the height of the Desert Campaign. The USS Arizona burns intensely at Pearl Harbor on December 7, 1941, after a direct hit to its forward magazine. The explosion destroyed the ship instantly, killing over 1,000 crew members. Today, it rests beneath the harbor as a memorial to the lives lost that day. Shurishi attends a New Year reunion in 1946 with former members of Unit 731, once the head of Japan's secret biological warfare program. Ishii's experiments caused countless deaths. This haunting image shows a man responsible for atrocities that remain among the darkest chapters of modern history. Aleister Crowley appears dressed as Osiris around 1900 during rituals of the Hermetic Order of the Golden Dawn, known as the Great Beast. Crowley's fascination with mysticism and occult practices influenced generations of esoteric thinkers, blurring the lines between philosophy, ritual, and scandal. Capsule in the winter of 1945. A GI from the US 5th Armored Division prepares a frost-covered Browning M1919A4 machine gun in Belgium. The frozen weapon and the soldiers' determined posture capture the harsh conditions and perseverance of Allied troops during the final months of World War II. Kappa Alpha Theta sorority sisters gather at the University of Southern California, around 1,900. Their confident smiles and elegant attire reflect a new generation of women pursuing education and independence in a time when higher learning for women was still rare and socially transformative. Swiss photographer Roberto de Netta captured daily life in Blenio Valley during the early 1900s. Among his 5,000 glass negatives, many like this show villagers in humorous or candid scenes. His work became a priceless record of rural Swiss culture, frozen in time through his playful and empathetic lens.